Hey everyone, Nat Daddy here, and let's go over the weekly book review for Friday, June 20th. Read a bunch of books a week. This is what I grabbed thinking was interesting and thought you might want to see. Let's jump right into them. First off, we have issue 8 of the year 1 of Batman and Robin series. This has been a lot of fun. I quite like it. I especially like the old artwork style there. This is when Dick Grayson and Batman are newly forming their connection as the dynamic duo, and also father and son as well. Yeah, it's been pretty good, expanding on things that we know already, things about Clayface and Killer Croc and that as well. Clayface is kind of making his first major appearance in this so far. They're trying to discover who is Batman and Robin, and they're getting pretty close to actually figure it out in that. So this has been pretty cool. Like I said, I really do like this artwork there, and we got a few more issues left of that. We got issue 5 of Bug Wars from Image. Been really liking this. Jason Aaron doing the writing here. I like the artwork in here too. Very sketchy, thin lines. Kind of has some creepiness to it, and which is perfect for this setting, where it's a kid who's been shrunk down to insect size, and there's a whole giant insect world in his backyard, tied to his father, who is killed by these insects, and he is was a bug scientist. So kind of has this Game of Thrones feel mixed in with like Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. So this kid, not only has been shrunken, they find out his dad was kind of worshipped by a lot of these families, and he has a jewel on him that kind of gives him like this chosen one type of powers and that. So all this is warring. These different insect colonies are warring amongst each other, and a lot of them are banding together to not only go after him, but also to kill his older brother, who is known as the Razzer, and he's always out there cutting the grass and killing bugs and stuff. So they want to kill him as well. So interesting book so far. Really liking it. I hope they make this into a movie someday. It is the summer of Superman. The movie is fast approaching. So they have a series here about Krypto, the last dog of Krypton. And this is kind of like Krypto's origin story. So really like the artwork in here, nice and fun. And it starts off with Krypto on Krypton with Superman's parents, and Superman's just the baby. And this is right at the point where we've seen a million times where Krypton's about to explode, and Jor-El's trying to figure out with his wife there how to get off the planet. So using their spaceship, we know that Krypto is like a guinea pig for one of them. He does a test run for like a prototype. Ship works, but Krypto gets sucked into a wormhole. And that's how he ends up on Earth all those years. So we see him land on Earth, crash, ventures into the city, and ends up meeting a young boy named Lex. So I'm assuming that's Lex Luthor, so we'll see where that goes there. So that's a good book for young people and families if you're excited about that new movie coming up. Looking at issue 22 of Wonder Woman here. Don't normally follow this, but I do know that Tom King has been doing great work on it. This introduces or reintroduces a guy named Mouse Man. This story actually takes place back when Trevor and Diana are first kind of sleeping together and that. And he wakes up one morning to find out that she's gone, and she's in Washington fighting all these giant mice and that, which are under control of this wimpy kind of mouse guy dude. So, of course, that was in the past. And then we cut forward to nowadays, and we see that it is many years later, of course, and this mouse guy is maybe someone else more powerful now, and he's going to kind of take his revenge. So, obviously, starts off as a cutesy story. We see it's going to take a dark turn. So, Tom King doing some great work there. From Absolute Flash number 4 from DC. This has been a great book so far too. We have the Flash Wally is still kind of running and hiding from everybody because of they're all looking for him. He's still trying to cope with these powers that he's got from this accident, and he's still feeling guilty about Barry's death as well. So he does have Grodd with him, the little monkey with kind of powers. So he ends up going to Central City and ends up living in a kind of youth home type of thing for runaways and that, temporary living. He ends up meeting a young girl named Linda, so we end up seeing that her being introduced here. Yeah, so more expanding on that. We see more different experiments that have escaped, and then we see Wizard, Heatwave, and those are obviously going to be showing up in that. Some more rogues. So, and they introduce Heatwave. So, not as much action in this one as the previous issues, but still pretty interesting the way that they're building that Absolute Flash universe. We have the 6th issue of the current run of The Amazing Spider-Man. Okay cover there. Not really sure how that web swinging works there with her hanging on it, but yeah, not too bad so far. Peter's life's pretty good. He's working as a scientist at a company that his friend helped get him in there. He's doing pretty well there, even with all his Parker luck. He's still, kind of seeing that one girl. He's, getting a little bit closer with Black Cat again, which he likes. I don't mind the artwork in here. John Romita's not too bad for this here. Not as great as his earlier stuff. But yeah, just more of this going on. We still see Norman and Spidey building their relationship in that. And at the very end, that Hellgate character makes his appearance in Spider-Man's life. And he first showed up, I believe, in issue 1 or 2. So, see what kind of badness goes on there. From Oni Press, we have a book that kind of is a sleeper. Nobody was really knowing about it. I did order it, but then I did read it, and it was a lot more than I thought, so that's pretty cool. It's got some great color and artwork in here. I really liked it. But it's about this guy. He wakes up in a hotel room, kind of scuzzy hotel room. He doesn't know how he got there or anything. And he seems to be kind of disoriented in that. And he also seems to be kind of a jerk as well. So he finally, gets out of that hotel room, and someone tries to help him figure out what's going on. And the two of them kind of figure out that maybe he's not crazy. Maybe he's actually this sci-fi writer from many years ago that's dead and has been dead for many years. So now this guy's trying to figure out if that's the case or not. And he's got some crazy explanations and theories on it because he's a sci-fi writer, but they do kind of make sense. So they're trying to piece this out, figure things out. But like I said, this is kind of a jerky guy, and he's causing total chaos in this guy's life. So they end up getting all his copies of all his sci-fi work, and kind of do a little bit of research to see if they can figure out where this is coming from. And they do actually find it out in one of the stories, and then it takes it for a weird turn. So we'll see if the story is true, or if this is true, or what exactly is going on. My pick for cover of the week, we have Bring On the Bad Guys. This is Doom. This is going to be, I believe, a 7-issue series, each one representing a different villain, and each of the issues also introduces some kind of new aspect to the villains as well too. So in here we have the introduction of a new female, villain, antagonist, I'm not sure what you want to call her yet, called Sister Sorrow. She has a connection to all this mystical stuff, and she seems to be a pretty badass assassin type as well. So really liking the introduction of her, and it turns out she is working for Mephisto, trying to collect all these daggers to allow him to capture souls, to use the Soul Forge to help him control Earth. And I do believe they introduced the Soul Forge in the next issue, which is the Green Goblin one. And that one, I think, even though it's still a week away, might make my pick of the week because Lee Bomero there has been killing it with the covers lately. So my pick for book of the week, follows up the excellent first issue from Image. This is Exquisite Corpses. This is just kind of a crazy psycho book. I really like the artwork in here as well. It's a town that has been kind of closed off and taken control of by this powerful kind of Illuminati group, the 13. It's 13 families that get together, I believe it's every 5 years, and have this kind of kill or be killed, winner take all, and whoever survives of their chosen assassins is that allows that family to control the world for the next 5 years. So a lot of tension between all these families. They've all picked a chosen killer. Most of them are kind of crazy psychos and that. And we see in this book here that they're going through the town killing people, looking for weapons, and trying to, again, kill each other as well. Kind of a survivor type thing. So lots of crazy psychos going on there doing their thing. Gory, gruesome stuff. And we also see people in the town just trying to survive and figure out what's going on as well too. So yeah, it's kind of like a Running Man game out in a town with serial killers. So great fun here. It's going to be weird and wild and fun if Tinian's involved. So Exquisite Corpses. From Mad Cave, we have their current run of Flash Gordon issue 10. I've been liking this because, like I said, I have been trying to enjoy all the reboots of all the old IPs and that, and Flash Gordon is definitely an old IP. Lots of history there. I was familiar with Flash Gordon, but not very familiar, so I wasn't sure what I was going to be able to pick up right away when I started writing this series, because it does kind of take place. It's not a reboot per se. It just kind of take place with current events behind it, but it's easy to get into. Obviously, Flash Gordon has quite a big history behind him, but in here it shows him. He lost his memory. He woke up in a space jail and was broken out, and now was trying to figure out what's going on. And now he's gathered friends and allies along the way, piecing what's going on, and figuring it all out. And it all comes to a climax here at the end of the kind of first major storyline. So, lots of action here, great artwork. If you're a sci-fi fan, whether if you know Flash Gordon or not, this would be a great series to get caught up on. Even though this is issue 10, I do believe there is a trade paperback with the first 5 or 6 issues. So check that out. And Flash Gordon has been really good. G.I. Joe number 8. This is part of the Energon universe, where the G.I. Joe and Transformer stuff are all been combined. This has been great. This is an issue where the Baroness wants to just take some leave for a little while, but they don't really trust her as yet. So they send CoverGirl out with her, and during this whole time, Major Blood is stalking her because he wants to get revenge on her. So it's a great book so far, lots of action. I really like this whole G.I. Joe, Transformers, Energon universe stuff. So this book is a good one. They do introduce Raptor in here, so. One of the many Godzilla books that are out lately. This is Godzilla versus the Avengers. This book takes place in kind of like the early 2000s, so it's like the new Avengers, and it has that Michael Bendis feel to it. So I think a little bit in this book, they almost try too hard to make it like Michael Bendis. They have a whole lot of snarkiness and funny comedy quips and stuff amongst each other, dialogue-wise, and which is okay, but again, they try too hard. There's too much of that, but lots of fun here. The Avengers team taking on Godzilla, and they also have, what's his name here? Jet Jaguar, the kind of giant kaiju as well, too, so. Fing Fang Foom as well, so. I really like the artwork in here. Kind of has that exciting, detail, scratchy line look. But pretty good book. If you like that New Avengers time period with Brian Michael Bendis doing the writing in that and those characters against Godzilla, this would be right up your alley. Issue 2 of The Tragic Death of the Original Gwenpool. Like I said, I'm not really a Gwenpool fan. But I picked this up the first issue and I liked it, and I enjoyed the second issue too. Really enjoying the artwork here. It turns out that the original Gwen Stacy has somehow been brought back as this new evil dark Gwenpool, and not only is she going around killing the original Gwen, but she's met and taken out Spidey as well. So I'm not sure if I'll keep reading this or not, but these first 2 issues have been pretty good. Better than I expected, because like I said, I was not liking Gwenpool and all that stuff, but this one's been pretty good. And if you like Gwenpool and that, you'll probably like this. Issue 3 of Images, I Was a Fashion School Serial Killer. This book's been great. Much like I was talking about the other issue with that fine line and scratchy art, this is it as well. It's about a young woman in, I'm pretty sure it's New York, and she is struggling, as most young people do when they're trying to figure out what to do with their lives, and she has managed to get herself into a very prestigious art school, and she's doing pretty well there, even though she doesn't really fit in that. But she's starting to meet some people and you know, find some friends in that, and feeling a little bit more, you know, accepted and comfortable with herself. But at the same time too, she also happens to be a serial killer, and she uses the bodies, the body parts, bones, teeth, skin, and that in her creations, in her fashions, and that. So that's what kind of makes her stand out. So she has been doing pretty well there. This issue, it sees that, you know, not only good things happen, but bad things happen too. So some things in her life are starting to get a little bit stressful again and hectic, and it's causing her to be more conscious of those serial killer impulses. Even though she only kills people who she seems as bad people in that, when she gets a little bit more stressed out like that, it just comes to be a little bit more intense. So I really like that book so far. All right, issue 9, Moon Knight Fist of Khonshu. This is a great series. I like covering it for you guys. Jen McKay's been doing really great work on it. But also in the Legacy, this is issue 249. So next month will actually be 250 of the Moon Knight issue. So looking forward to that. And like in this book so far, this current story arc has, there's an Asgardian kind of gangster. He's out there pushing this glitter, which is a drug that's instantly addictive and magic. If you stop using it, you die. And Moon Knight's been trying to stop this. So him and Henry Pym have been working on a kind of antidote for it, and he thinks it's working. He has one, but he needs to test it out. So he gets himself addicted to the glitter and then tries out the antidote on that. So great story so far. I'm really liking all this, and I'm looking forward to see what they have for issue 250, being such a big monumental issue. So if you haven't been checking out Moon Knight, even though that's issue 9, Jed McKay's been doing that series for, you know, a few different volumes over the last few years, so those have been great. Much like that Gwenpool stuff, we have Spider-Verse versus Venomverse, and I don't usually like the whole Venomverse and Spider-Verse stuff. I find it kind of like time travel, and that's kind of easy way to write stuff, lazy, but I am a huge fan of Spider-Man, so I have checked out these as they've come out, and this one I'm really liking so far. We have the Spider-Verse characters against the Venomverse characters. There have had teams picked from those, and they have competitions to see who's going to be the winner in the end. Yeah, it's been all right. I'm a Spider-Ham fan, and he's in here quite a bit as well too. So if you are any of the Spider-Verse or Venomverse character fans, this is probably going to be another read for you. And it isn't really too bad. I do like some of the newer characters in here. And yeah, of course it does have Spider-Ham, so. Continuing the summer of Superman, we have issue 2 of Superman Unlimited. We saw in the first issue of Superman Unlimited where Superman had been in a coma for 3 months after saving the Earth from a giant kryptonite asteroid that was going to crash into it. But doing so, he said he was hurt and kind of in a coma for 3 months. And during that 3 months, a lot has changed. A lot of that kryptonite from the exploded asteroid has landed on Earth and now is used not only as a commodity, but has turned this one country into a powerhouse, and they use it as weapons. And it is an expensive material, but no, everybody can kind of get access to it. So people have made bullets and weapons out of it. And during that time, while Superman's been out, the Super family have been taken and beaten because now they have a weakness. So we're seeing Superman dealing with it as well now too. We have the Creeper in here, who I always think is a cool character. So we see Superman trying to deal with this new disadvantage of having people know his kryptonite disabilities. But it's been good so far. I like the Superman stuff. Not usually a huge Superman fan, but I must admit, as the movie gets closer, I've been getting more and more into it and enjoying all the material they've been putting out. From AWA, they have this great book called They Choose Violence. It's a good book in here. It's about a few women who have seen a lot of crappy stuff over their lives, and they always talk big things about, kind of going out and doing vigilante stuff, but obviously don't, because it's just talking that while they're mad and pissed off. So these women, they grow up, they get their own lives in that. One of them ends up becoming a kind of a lawyer who ends up defending social injustices. And they get to the point after seeing one more crime after crime go unpunished because of white privilege and connections and whatever and stuff. They decide to actually live out those kind of fantasies of doing revenge and vigilantes and that. So they start training and planning and preparing, and they go through with it, and then they start doing it more and more, and it becomes almost like a rush for them. So this is a pretty good, neat start to a book so far about 3 women and how their lives change, and they kind of hint at the end there that maybe they might go after Trump. So we'll see what happens there. That's called They Chose Violence from AWA. And I have heard that the book that's on the shelves right now, if you can get a copy, is an error copy, though some of the pages are mixed. So I don't know if they'll recall it or print a new one or not, but that's always neat to collect. And lastly, from Mad Cave, we have issue 2 of their new anthology series called Vanishing Point. You can see here it kind of has a Jetsons feel on the cover. And that's what this first story is. We have this Jetsons world and this young boy who is a friend to, I think his name's Bobby. Yes, Bobby. And he's a weird kid. He doesn't want to go home. His family seems to be okay with him not being around and that. And we find out that this guy is not who he seems he is, and he has a weird little turn there. So I don't want to spoil that for you guys. You can read it. But it's a good story. Vanishing Point seems to be another one of those books that is anthology stories, different artists, different storytellers every time. And some are weird and some will be even weirder. So do pick it up. Even if it's just for that cool Jetsons look. So, all right, that's what I read this week. This is what I thought stood out for you guys. Do check them out. Hopefully you found something new here that you hadn't seen or weren't aware of, and maybe you go pick it up. Support all these fine creators and that, and your LCS. Otherwise, we'll see you next week for more reviews. Like, share, and subscribe. Peace out.